Hey guys, John Campea here, and I'm here to talk about Injustice 2, the movie. Basically, it's all the cutscenes from the game Injustice 2 that are all pieced together to make one movie. Now, they originally did this with the first Injustice video game, where somebody took all the cutscenes, made one big movie out of it, and it was fantastic. Now, if you don't know, here's the basic story of Injustice. Now, I'm just giving you the first 5 to 10 minutes of setup. Don't worry, I'm not giving away any spoilers. But basically, it's this. Imagine a universe where it's just like ours, okay? But the Joker kidnaps Lois Lane after she becomes pregnant with her and Superman's son. Then he deceives and manipulates and tricks Superman into thinking that Lois Lane is Doomsday. Superman, then thinking that Lois Lane is Doomsday, takes her out into outer space, rips her apart, killing her and their unborn child. And then the Joker had put a sensor on Lois Lane, so when her heart stopped beating, it set off a nuclear device in Metropolis, blowing up Metropolis. Superman had a terrible day. He lost Lois, he lost his unborn child, and millions of people in his city died. That's the trigger event for the story of Injustice, that it sets Superman down a very dark path. It's kind of like a character study, if you will, on what happens even to the best of us when something that dark and that deeply painful happens to us. I mean, because like most of us, somebody just cuts you off in traffic and suddenly you're spewing obscenities that you never thought you would hear come out of your mouth. Being an incredibly pissed off Kryptonian that he was, he then breaks into the jail where the Joker's being held and he tears out the Joker's heart, killing the Joker, which meant for him it was crossing a line, that he was now killing a villain out of vengeance. And that started him down a very dark path. Now that leads Superman to thinking, I'm never going to let any villain hurt anybody again, which leads him to forming basically a totalitarian regime with him as the new head of government of the world. And it becomes Batman and his resistance against Superman and those superheroes that would follow him. As a side note, I also really want to recommend the comic book series Injustice Year One. Now, you don't have to read this in order to watch Injustice the movie on YouTube or Injustice 2, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I'm going to tell you, that comic series is the best written comic series I've read in years. The storytelling and the themes and the character development in it are all off the scale good. But we're here to talk about Injustice 2. Now, I'm not reviewing the video game. I haven't played through the video game yet. I've simply watched the movie, and I'm just going to talk about the story in the movie. Look, just so we're on the same page, I'm just going to refer to it as a movie, okay? You know what I mean, but I'm just going to refer to it as the movie. Injustice 2 picks up on Krypton and in its final days, but instead of focusing on Jor-El and Kal-El, Superman, it actually looks at it from Kara's point of view, Superman's cousin, and what her and her mother went through as Krypton was facing attack by Brainiac. Brainiac is the one who actually led to the destruction of Krypton. So Injustice 2 kind of picks up a few years after the events of Injustice 1. Kara got knocked off course. Instead of coming to Earth, she got sent somewhere else and put into some kind of hypersleep. But Black Adam found her and brought her back to Earth. And now Black Adam and Wonder Woman are trying to cultivate her as an ally to break Superman out of Batman's prison and start their quest for world domination once again. But as often happens in the comic book world and the world of superheroes, if something can go wrong, it most definitely will go wrong. So as all of this stuff is going on, Brainiac has found his way to Earth. And he does basically what, all evil superhero villains want to do. He wants to destroy the Earth, but he very specifically has a real hate-on for Superman, the last surviving Kryptonian. He finds out Kara's there too. There's another Kryptonian. He wants to get them and destroy the world and all kinds of bad stuff. This, of course, leaves Batman and his allies facing a very tough dilemma. Can we face Brainiac on our own, or do we risk letting Superman and his followers out of prison to help us all fight Brainiac together? Now, like I said, this movie, Injustice 2, starts off with Kara. So basically lets us know we're going to have some new characters, and there's going to be focus on some characters that maybe didn't get a lot of attention before. Obviously, Kara is one of them. Gorilla Grodd is a very major character in this, and of course, Brainiac is there as well. And it's really cool seeing Swamp Thing shows up there, and Swamp Thing actually has a kind of a semi-major role in there as well during certain parts of the story along the way. So I'll just basically cut to the chase here. Injustice 1, the movie, was fantastic. A lot of fun to watch. Actually, if you want to combine the storylines and story arcs, since they are one big storyline and story arc of Injustice, the comic books, particularly Year One, with the movie Injustice that's on YouTube, it is some of, and I'm not using any hyperbole here at all, it is some of the best storytelling DC has done in years. And that's not to diminish any of the other stuff DC's done, that is just to highlight just how good this whole Injustice story is. Now, Injustice 2 is not quite as good, not quite as compelling, not quite as, impactful as the first Injustice was, but damn, it's still a lot of fun. You see, because where Injustice 2 runs the risk of maybe just repeating everything they did in the first Injustice, they actually pick up on some of the same themes and just carry those themes onto their next logical steps. Yeah, in Injustice 1, we saw Batman and Superman have their philosophical differences and have them battle each other out, and we saw what happens to somebody, even a really good man like Superman, when things start to go bad. And yes, they revisit some of those exact same things in Injustice 2, but they progress, they carry those themes on, they carry those conversations on, they carry those acts on to their next logical progression of levels, which kind of ups the ante in the whole drama of the piece. Now, most of the attention, as in almost everything DC related, is focused on Batman, but that by no means is a bad thing, especially in this game. The Batman character is handled beautifully. I love how we see different dimensions to him. In this world now, post the first Injustice, Batman, his ID has been outed to the world. The world knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman, so he talks on public, he talks on television, he talks in courts as Bruce Wayne, but everybody knows he's Batman. That's just the world they live in now because Superman outed him in Injustice 1. And it's kind of neat as a fan of Batman to see how would Batman conduct himself if everybody knew his secret identity, if the cat was out of the bag, as it were. And the way the storytellers handled it, I thought felt very natural and flowed just perfectly. Batman really sees himself now as a protector of the world, but also a steward to help put the world back together after the events of the first Injustice. And Superman is still the same Superman from the first Injustice. He's still a byproduct of that devastating loss that he suffered, of the accumulation of the mistake after mistake after mistake that he made that led him down a very dark path to ultimately becoming the villain of the story. He's had some time to reflect now, but he's only become more convicted in his beliefs. And as you've heard me say before, there is nothing more scary and there's nothing more dangerous in a villain in a story than one who believes in their convictions, the one who believes that they're the hero, the ones who think they're doing the right thing. They are the scariest villains of them all, and Superman certainly falls in that category in the story. Now Batman's got to let out Superman and some of his followers as well. They've got to deal with their own philosophical differences while trying to deal with Brainiac, who just wants to destroy the world, and it makes for some really cool storytelling, some great fights, some great battles. Now, you don't get to see a lot of the fights because it's gameplay, but within the cutscenes themselves, there's a lot of cool battles and fights, and you get to see those play out. And I really like the way Aquaman was handled in this. Again, he was just a cool badass in the first one, but that continues on in this. I think Black Adam got some really cool attention that he got to have the spotlight on him for a while in this one too, which I thought played out really well, especially when you get to see Black Adam interacting with like Wonder Woman and with Aquaman too, and you got some really kind of cool story dynamics there. The thing that had bugged me a little bit though is that Wonder Woman is just kind of a dick. Like Superman, yeah, he lost his wife and his daughter and his city got blown up, but Wonder Woman was just kind of there to egg on all of his darker impulses, to make him go bad. And there was never really a struggle with her in the first one, and certainly in the second one, she just kind of comes across as a straight up villain. I wish they had given her the depth and the attention that they gave to other characters like Catwoman or Cyborg or Green Lantern or Flash or Superman or Batman. They all had these layers to them, whereas, yeah, Wonder Woman was just kind of a dick in the story. Now, I'm sure some of you are gamers and you're wondering, well, will watching the movie ruin my gameplay experience? And having played the game a little bit and then watched another buddy of mine play it through a little bit deeper, I think I can tell you that I don't think watching this movie will take away any of your gameplay experience. There's a lot of little side missions in the game, but on top of that, like there's a mode in the game that's completely outside of the narrative anyway. So I think it's safe for you to go, sit down, grab a bag of Doritos, a bottle of Coke, pop on YouTube and just watch this movie and enjoy it for what it is. Some great, fantastic comic book storytelling with iconic characters put in positions we've never really seen them put in before, and I think you're going to be thoroughly entertained. I give Injustice 2 a 8 out of 10. Go and watch it tonight. All right, that'll do it for me. Thanks for watching this little review of mine. Hey, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my YouTube channel here. Once again, just John Campea. Follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, just at John Campea, and I will bring you guys more stuff. Is there anything else you'd like to see me talk about or review? Just fire me off a note on social media and let me know, and I'll see what I can do. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye-bye.